Hello, hello. We are testing. Test. Hello, hello. Okay, we got audio. Welcome everyone to another Blender for Korman video. We're gonna be doing a few things today. But primarily, we're gonna be doing... Well, we're gonna be doing shadows. Yeah. We're gonna kick in. We're gonna do the shadows, that I've been meaning to do. Oh, yeah. Image editor here. So yeah. Shadows. Shadows. First and foremost, I'm going to start with the chairs, because that's the easiest one I have. I'm going to create a plane. Just bring that up here. This is going to be our chair shadow matte. This is going to be interior light group. So yeah, we're going to be doing, we're going to be doing a texture here. I have a texture from Eder Nabry, so let's see here. Should be... Let's see, I'm pretty sure... Hold on, hold on. I forgot to take off the stream starting soon card and turn on Blender. There we go. And I forgot to turn back on my taskbar cover. I was doing streaming earlier this week, or last week actually, and I was doing a video game. I was doing SD Gundam Mobile Alliance. Just give me a second here to find the chair texture, because I know it's in here. Ah, there it is. Ath's chair shadow. Right. Ath's chair shadow 2. There we go. Tab, you reset. Woohoo! Okay. Right then. So I'm just reusing this chair texture shadow from Nabry because yeah, it's what I have. And yeah. Anyway, let me rotate. No. RZ90. Let's RZ180? Yeah, there we go. Right, so first things first, we're just gonna scale it, and we're gonna try to get this roughly lined up like so. There we go. Yeah. And we're gonna have to deal with some of this weird stretchiness. Like so, but it's gonna eventually work out. think I think I've hit the limits of what I can do with just a single plane. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to start subdividing it. Yeah. We're going to start messing with the proportions of this because otherwise we're gonna have to deal with come on, select all the faces here. Yeah. Basically, the issue we gotta deal with here is there's obviously light from the computer monitor that's gonna cast a shadow, but we also have light from the ceiling lamp that's gonna cast a shadow. So the trick becomes figuring out what is our balance here. I think with a little bit more subdivision, if we pull this in like that, and pull this in like that, makes the shadow a little more compacted, I think. Yeah. And the thing with shadows is you're always going to be kind of, you're always going to kind of be guessing with this, because it might not look all that great. Yeah. The next thing that we're going to have to keep in mind here is that when we're layering shadows, yeah, hold on a second. I think I'm going to pull this in slightly. Yep. The thing with shadows is you got to kind of guess exactly where things are gonna be and try to make sure it looks consistent. So I'm gonna hit shadeless, and then we're gonna make this smooth shading. Now the main thing to keep in mind here, pass indexes. So this rug here is transparent with a pass index of 0. Currently, we also have our shadow here with a pass index of 0. I'm going to briefly show you what it looks like if those have the same pass indexes with an export. Yeah. So we're going to export, and hopefully it will export properly and not give us issues. But yeah, basically what we're going to be wanting to do with pass indexes is make sure that they are layered per level. So what that means is when we have a pass index of 0 and we have another transparent texture above it, we want that texture to be blend layer 1 instead of blend layer 0. Because when it's blend layer 0, like what we have here, it's going to look like, hold on, I do not have Uru visible. Give me a second. I gotta turn on my Urus back on. There we go. Boop. Now we have Uru back. Because I disabled it while we were streaming, because I was being silly for some reason. I don't know. Anyway, Uru's up. Well, you'll see in a moment why the pass index is important. There's a few places in here where you can actually experiment with this right now, and both legitimate and slightly less legitimate ways. By that I mean some are accessible through direct gameplay, and others are more you gotta do some fancy stuff with the internal client, which is not direct gameplay. Okay, now see, I forgot an important thing. I forgot to name the object Chair Shadow, and I forgot to activate it, so we just did a pointless export with nothing changed. Let's sigh. I can't believe I did that. I mean, I can believe I did that, but... Sorry. I should have muted before coughing. But, yeah, essentially you're gonna see something look weird here. For a non-standard gameplay version of this, if you go to Eder Neighbory during Country Evening and you see them bring in all of those marbles, and you see the marbles roll in front of the chairs or the shadows under the chairs, what you have happening there is a pass index issue where one texture starts eating into the other, which does not look all that good. Another instance of this that is actually legitimately gameplay is the markers. If you are creating or playing a custom player marker mission, yeah, see that right there, that right there, that is a pass index issue. Boop, 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 boop. That's a pass index issue right there. That is basically what is happening. Is these are being told to render on the same blend layer, and because of that, it's getting confused about what to render where. Which is why we're going to change it to a higher blend pass than what is happening, below. So we're gonna zip back to Blender here. We're gonna go to our texture here, Chair Shadow, and we're gonna give it a blend index of 1. Sorry for the coughing. It's one of those mornings. My throat is dry and cloggy and Anyway, object, transform, origin to geometry. And before I forget it, I'm gonna duplicate this. And we're gonna bring it over here to this. Yep. I'm going to leave it as the same blend pass because I'm going to probably end up having another shadow underneath it. So yeah, we're going to do basically the exact same thing we just did, except we're gonna adjust it to be more in line with a shadow that is being broadcast from the side. So it's gonna be more narrow on the side of the lamp. So we're gonna take these bits, I'm gonna shrink it in a bit. Actually, I'm gonna not select those. I'm going to shrink that in a bit. Ooh. Oh, I'm going to shrink it in like that. Yeah, there we go. And then we're going to come over here. Oop, oop, no. Boop, boop. Boop. And then we're going to stretch it out. And, yep, we're just going to stretch. Stretch. We're just going to give this sort of a... wider profile, I think. Yeah, we're gonna just sort of do that. Like so. Yeah. Well, we're gonna take these and I'm gonna make it not quite so wobbly, I think. Okay, so yeah. That should mostly do the trick. Yeah, we see how that looks more like it's stretched sort of this way. Are you guys even seeing my mouse, I wonder? Yeah, you are seeing my mouse. So yeah, it's more that general direction. Oh, right, this little mouse cursor is one of Michi Mochivi's. There was a new outfit debut, and she had a mouse cursor pack celebrating the previous outfit, so it's a cute little mouse cursor. Anyway, so, yeah. And I'm realizing this does not quite look as good, because it's not quite getting the look across. If I pull that down a bit more, pull this down, pull this down. Like that, maybe? Again, shadows are kind of a guessing game when you're not really sure what you're doing. And it's gonna end up being one of those you gotta play it by ear sort of things. So yeah. Let's go and test the age again. Yeah. Essentially, that's the gist of making shadows, is you gotta make sure that they are in alignment, roughly, with how you expect the lighting in the area to work, especially with a baked shadow like this, because the rough shadow, it has to follow generally where you assume that the light source is projecting from. And there's really the only way you're really going to get good at it is to look at how shadows fall in real life, as well as look at how you want it to look in the game. You're going to have to play around with it, and if you go in and you look at it and you think, oh, that shadow is not behaving realistically, with an engine like Uru, sometimes, though, you have to play devil's advocate and fix something in place, even though realistically it should be moving. like the fire pit in Nabry. Hello, D20 and Eddie, and I don't know why you keep jumping around for... Anyway, look at that. Now our chair shadow is not eating the rug. Woohoo. Let me come over here. Yes, hello, Rubik's Cube. Yeah, look at that. That shadow looks... I am okay with that shadow. That looks good enough to me. Ooh. Look at how slowly that cube is moving. Yeah, I need to, I need to work on that. Anyway, so, now that we have 2 place shadows, you can start to see where we're gonna need more shadows. Because it looks, okay, because now that we have... Yes, thank you. But yeah, see, now that we have 2 chairs with shadows, you can start to see where shadows are supposed to be, but aren't. Namely, let's start with this bench setup here. So yeah, this is where we're gonna zip back to our texture folder, and I'm gonna create a plane. This is going to be our bench shadow. And there's a reason I spelled it weirdly like that, because my texture name for this is bench. Hold on, asp. I know I have it in the Aspbuzz. Come on, where's the shadow? Where's the shadow? I know it's here. Come on. Ooh, wait, hold on. Sit, bench. Yep, it is not in the right folder. I'm just gonna copy. Control C. I'm just gonna drop them in here. Cancel. Open, and now when I go to BMGs, they're going to be here in the B category for the bench. So tab, U reset, and this is going to be shadeless. Oop, that's the wrong texture. But anyway, I'm going to be setting this to interior light group. This was not the right one, so I'm gonna... Don't want bench shadow rounded. I just want... bench shadow. And you'll see I typoed it. It's a weird... I was trying to write bench shadow, but then I mistyped, and then it was bench shadow, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna immortalize it. It's good enough. So we're gonna scale this by the x-axis, scale this by the y-axis, and you can see it's starting to clip a little there. So we're gonna raise this up, and then we're gonna come over here, and we're gonna raise its pass index to 1, same level as the chair's shadow. Okay. So basically, what we're gonna do here, tab, I'm gonna scale this out by the x-axis a little bit more. We're gonna rotate this by the y-axis. So, actually, we're just gonna try to get this to roughly kind of match the positioning of where I want the shadow to appear. I'm going to pull this out, pull this out. Yep. And I'm going to RZ to rotate it. Then because the light is coming from above and casting in this direction, I'm gonna pull this back like so. I'm gonna stretch this back a bit further. And then I'm gonna stretch this back a bit further, like so. Tools, subdivide. Although mainly that's just so I can come in here and nope. Tools, knife. Do that. And delete those. And I'm just giving myself ample room to cut. And yeah. Well, there's a reason that I'm going to the trouble of doing the knife cutting here. And that reason is that instead of doing two different shadow planes like I did before, yeah, we're gonna make one shadow plane instead, and it is a lot easier to do that when you don't have quite so many you don't have quite so many yeah. Let me subdivide that. Boop, boop, boop. Come on, what? There we go. I'm just gonna select, boop, boop, boop. There. It'd feel a little bit better if I could cut those off too, but it's not gonna let me. So anyway, we're gonna back out of here. We're gonna duplicate. And I know that logically this is not gonna overlap with this to a considerable degree. But as you can see, it is overlapping with itself to some degree. You might be thinking, won't that cause just as many issues with the texturing? All I gotta say is, boop. Not as many as you would think. Especially if we're gonna play it a bit by ear here. Yoink. Yoink. Because, and here's the fun part. Look at that. That's lining up pretty nicely. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna select these bits here. Gonna stretch them out just a bit. Try and match the projected shape here. Yeah. So it's going to go again, and we're going to have this being smooth shading, and then I'm going to disengage shadeless. But yeah, you can see here that there's a slight overlap, and I could worry about that, but because I have the bent lint pass set up the way that I do, it's not going to give us much problems. Now, here's the important thing that I'm still thinking about here. And that is boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. And that is this little arc over here. You know, you're thinking, oh, there's a shadow there. Yeah, in Blender, there's a shadow there. And there's probably... Nope. I hit subdivide instead of duplicate. Okay, so yeah, there we go. So yeah, we're gonna just... Ooh, that's way too high up. How did that get so high up? But yeah, I'm gonna go back to shadeless so we can see what we're doing here. But yeah, we're gonna scale this by our x-axis, scale this by our y-axis. Yeah. Essentially, what we are doing here, boop, 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 is we are gonna take our edge. We're gonna try to, yeah, we're gonna just try to make the curve of this a little more subdivide. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna try and make this shadow, this bench shadow, just generally try to match the shape of this thing. The reason for that is, yeah, that's still way too high. That's not going to look good. That's not going to look good when we import into the age, or load into the age. That's way too high up off the ground. So yeah, here we go. And we're just going to drop this down a bit like so. A little bit over high, but yeah. That'll do better. Anyway. Goal now is going to be selecting these faces. I'm going to stretch, 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 stretch. Okay. We need to take this. I'm going to take these. And I'm not going to worry too much about it. Except again, I'm going to pull in these corners here. That should do the trick. So, let's export and see how that looks. So the thing about shadows, really, is that when it comes to baking a shadow texture, I mean, you can't, for some things, like the chair, you're going to have to be really exacting with the shadows. So what's easiest there is to like take a screenshot of the object from the direction you want the shadow to be cast in. And then you trace over the outline of the object in a photo editing program and draw it black, etc. Fill it in with just black shadow and, do the fades as you need to do the fades, etc., etc. But the brilliant part about shadows is that, like you saw at the bench, sometimes you just have a generic sort of blobby shape, and what you can do with that is you can just stretch it however far you need to stretch it. And when you stretch it as far as you need to stretch it, you end up with a neat shape. Essentially. Now see, I did it again. I forgot to activate the dang thing again. Look, but yeah. See, just because this thing is casting a slight shadow doesn't mean it's casting the right shadow. This does not look right compared to the chairs. So, yeah. Pod, bench, arch, shadows. Let's do that again. I really need to remember to check those flags when I'm creating the objects before I export. Yeah, so now we're exporting again, which we really shouldn't have had to do a second export because I should have gotten it right the first time I had the things active. Anyway. We are jumping into Uru in just a moment. It's still doing the exporting, but yeah. Okay, here we go. Now we're into Uru. Boop. Load, updating. It's downloading all the things it doesn't need to download, but it is anyways. Lisai. But yeah, anyway. So, shadows. The good thing about shadows is you can kind of get away with generic blobby shapes in a lot of cases, especially when you're dealing with simple geometric objects, like a sort of curved arch thing. Yeah, there we go. So see, we've got the bench, we've got the shadows from the bench, although, as you can see, the shadowing on the underside of the bench is a little weird in comparison. But look at that shadow on the floor there. Bench shadow looks good. And this little... No. Yeah. That looks pretty good, and it seems to be blending in seamlessly with the shadow that is naturally generated by the lighting. So, I'd say that arch shape there is working pretty dang good, except it really feels like that shouldn't be also casting a shadow against the wall. We will, and it's not casting as big of a shadow against the wall as I would expect it to. So again, we're going to have to come along and deal with that. But before we get to that, I just want to look at that. You can really start to see where we need shadows versus where we don't. Whereas once we started adding shadows, where you need them where you need them begins to stand out. And where you've done it wrong also starts to stand out, like this corner right here. And it's not being cast nearly as perfectly as I would like it to be. But I think... No, yeah, I need to fix that. That is not looking quite so right. So we're going to come back here. We're going to come back to this. We're going to make it shadeless. Yeah, the problem is right here. I'm going to select these and our floor. The reason for that is I need to see where this thing is overhanging. Oh. Boop. Primarily, we just need to get rid of those, because otherwise we've got a bit of shadow overhanging the corner, and it doesn't look quite right. Didn't look quite right to my eye. Okay. Anyway, my main concern now is getting this corner to look correct. So I'm going to stretch that a bit. There we go. I think... Yeah, I think that should work. That should do the trick, yep. Make that look a little bit better. Yeah. Actually, the reason that blended so well is look how much of that is going over the edge there. That's just beautiful. But again, we have so much over here that's just... I'm gonna subdivide that. Brilliant part is I think I can just delete those faces entirely. There we go. Well, and that should not cause us any issues. But we will always triple check. Aha! That will cause us an issue. Because that will be visible. So we'll just turn a face there. Okay. Now then comes what I'm going to consider to be the foundational shadow for the pod. And that is going to be our corner trim shadow. Now you see over here where we have this grouping of shadow coming together like that. Right? We have this like this. But we see as we get over here that it just becomes kind of a flat edge. We're going to fix that. And primarily, actually, hold on. Boop. Boop. primarily how we're going to fix that. If you can't guess, is with another plane. We're going to create a plane. I'm going to raise it up. Before I forget, this is going to be our corner shadow obscura. I don't know why I'm calling it that, but we're gonna call it that. So yeah, we're gonna create a new. This is gonna be corner shadow. Then we're gonna create a new texture. So there's a specific shadow that I want here, and it is one of the ones I've been using in the ratio apartment. This is going to be open PNGs. We're going to xcol, and we need xcol dash square shadow 2. Shadeless, interior light group, tab, U, reset. Look at that. So I'm going to then shrink our texture here a bit so that the pale edges there are now like so. And then I'm going to scale it by the X so that way it is a bit more like that. Yep. Okay. Tab, and we're going to subdivide it. And the reason why, I'm going to take these, we're going to elevate them like so. Then I'm going to take our X value, which is 0, 0. And look at that, we now have an L-shaped shadow. You can guess what we're going to do with this. We're going to bring it up against the wall here. And then I'm going to just pull this inwards a bit more. There we go. So you notice we can then probably just adjust this individually. But that's not quite what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to grab these. I'm going to stretch it out a bit. And now comes the fun part. I'm trying to figure out where the heck that is. Oop. Okay. Over there. So the question is, how big do we want to make this shadow trim? And again, I think the answer is going to be explained by over here, which is completely the wrong corner for what I've just done. So I'm going to switch that like so, and then bring this over to here. Yep. So I'm going to select these bits, and I'm going to bring them up roughly about Here. And then, I'm just realizing I forgot to select our back wall. A bit more of extra stuff than I need to do, but that's fine. Oh, we're now just going to hit extrude, and you'll notice it's going to create an extremely smooth texture here. And the reason for that is, well, kind of obvious. It is because I'm extruding from one set of pixels right here. So rather than the raw texture where it was kind of jaggedy edges, I'm now going to have essentially I'm going to make sure that I get my coordinates right here. My x coordinate and my y coordinate. Then I'm just going to select this face and this face. And we're just going to extrude it along the x-axis. But first, though, I'm going to take this. I'm going to try to get it leveled out there. Okay. Then this is our x angle. I'm going to apply that to... Oop, nope. That's our y-axis. And then we're going to apply that like so. There we go. Now that's nice and square. We can now just take this and stretch. And we'll extrude. Ooh. And so because this is a pass index of 0, I'm going to try to get that underneath. And I'll probably have to adjust it with the other texture, actually. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. Actually, I don't need to do it. I already got it. Okay, that's pretty good. Anyway. For the moment, I'm just briefly going to set this to wire. That way I can see through it. So yeah, now we're just gonna kind of repeat that process over here. And under here where there's gonna be mesh, it doesn't matter if it looks pretty. I'm gonna stretch it out with the x-axis. To just bring that in a bit like this. Even though it's technically fine, I just want to make sure that it's gonna be fine. So we're gonna just keep doing this basically. Except here is where things are gonna get a little different. here. Textured. There we go. Disabled. So, here's where this is going to get different. What we're going to do is I'm going to take this point right here. I'm going to just lift it up. I'm going to pull it forward. I'm going to take this vertex and I'm going to try to kind of the goal here, what I'm trying to accomplish is basically I'm trying to get this so that it looks vaguely. Yeah, see, that's kind of where our issues are coming into play, because we are getting this way out of alignment. We're going to have to play with this a bit. We are definitely going to have to play with this a bit. But essentially, the idea here is get that to arc upward a bit. We'll get this to arc upward a bit. And for here, try to get that, okay. And we'll try to even that out a bit. But yeah, we're just gonna raise that up a bit more. Okay. I think, for the moment, that is good enough for an export test. So we're gonna triple check to make sure that's active. It is. Save. Test stage. And now, if we've done everything correctly, when we look at the shadows for the floor area, it will hopefully look good. But I'm already looking at it, and I'm thinking I might need to come along in here and pull this down a bit. Just because, yeah. Okay. Into Uru, into Uru, into Uru. Into Uru, come on. I know OBS has it, but there it goes. Okay. Waiting for the stream to catch up. There is a bit of a delay. Okay, so for starters, I've gone a bit too tall, and I've got it way too narrow. Except for over here. That looks very nice. Yeah. So, problem here is going to be needing to, yeah. I've got it way too, yeah. I've got it way too, I've got it way too tall, and I need it to be a bit further out from the floor. So, yeah. This is back out of here. I'm going to select the desks just so I have a height reference. Tab. And come along here. I'm going to select these. Going back to shadeless. Boom. Stretch that. Okay. So, I'm going to triangulate that. Problem is now that that's going to be very angular of a line. We want it to be a bit more soft and rounded. So, we're going to have to subdivide this to accomplish that. So we're going to come along here. Going to pull that in. And we're just going to start trying to mesh this against the wall. Try to even this out a bit. I'm going to stretch. No, I'm not going to stretch that particular bit. I'm going to stretch this particular bit upwards. And then I'm going to take this particular bit and I'm going to stretch it. I'm going to stretch. Yeah. See, the problem here now is this is getting weird and wonky, and what we may have to do here is give this another This is where things get really kind of complicated with shadows, because I'm going to subdivide this, and I'm going to subdivide that. And we're just going to stretch. Take this, I'm going to stretch that upwards. Take this, I'm going to stretch it upwards. Stretch. We're just trying to balance these proportions out a bit more better. Again, we're all mostly just kind of eyeballing this. This bit here, we're going to raise it up. Take this bit here, we're going to raise it up. Okay. So, I think my next problem is that it's too dark, or too dark of a shadow. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this intensity way down, because this is going to be shadeless. What I'm going to do is I'm going to force real-time lighting on it. I'm going to take advantage of a peculiar engine bug where the lower this slider is, the more transparent the texture is. The higher it is, the more solid it is. I'm going to just bring that down a bit. And I'm going to test the age again. So this is the part where we really start to try to figure out where our shadows are and how they're going to look and how they're going to affect each other. My main concern with getting the shadows right is ironically enough, making sure that it all feels consistent, I guess. Again, shadows are subjective as hell, and everybody's going to have completely different interpretations of what shadows are going to look like. I'm going to probably fuss over the shadows in here so much because they are pre-baked shadows, and I'm going to have people, when this gets to testing, I'm going to have people telling me what they think the shadows should look like, where things should be better or different, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so see, because I made it lighter, now because I made it lighter, now we can now it sort of blends a bit better, I think. Or at the very least, it blends against the floor better. But again, against the wall, it looks kinda horrendous. Which is not the look we want at all. I think my problem here is that I've tried too hard to make it made my initial blend against the wall a lot higher than it actually needs to be. So I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at the light, and I'm looking at the light here. It should not be that high against the back wall there. So, what is our solution to that? Our solution, ironically, is going to be to take these. We're just gonna lower it down by a significant amount. That slope there doesn't quite look right. Yeah, we're just gonna shrink this down, and we're gonna try to honestly, I think what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna delete these back wall pieces here. I'm gonna come back in here. I'm gonna strengthen the shadowing a bit. But essentially, I think I then no, it's gonna do the exact same thing, isn't it? Okay. Knife. Come on. Let me use the dang knife. Come on, let me use the knife. What are you getting confused about? Oh, you're getting confused over there. There we go. Take that. I'm just gonna stretch it down like that. Yeah, there we go. And yeah, I'm gonna skip this corner for the moment. See, I'm happy with how this area is looking. I think I'm roughly happy with how this is looking, generally speaking. This really is just the trickiest part of getting shadows right. And I think I'm just going to get rid of these two for the moment. gonna select these. I'm gonna scale them by the x-axis. Pull them back a bit. So, I think instead what I need to do, I'm going to extrude this out, like so. Like that. And I'm going to take this, bring it down. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try and match this slope here. And then I think what I need to do about this is I need that corner to be kind of filled in. And then, yeah, I'm just gonna try and make this shadow that's going around the corner just kind of it's too much. I think this is probably the right idea here. Let's shrink that, and I'll just lower it down a bit more. Gonna slope this slightly. The idea is gonna be that this shallower curve is gonna, it's just gonna hug the corner here, and it's just going to be to try and make the shadow where the wall meets the floor, because there's already kind of a base shadow on the floor. The goal is to try and make that shadow seem like it's merging up onto the wall. Let's test the edge out again real quick. Hello, buddy. If I have two light sources that have different intensities on an object, I absolutely will need overlapping shadows. The ratio apartment has some decent examples of that, where I have shadows on the desk, and then I have shadows from the main room lamp, and then I have shadows from a nearby crystal lamp, and they all kind of overlap over each other in different ways. And it's kind of hard to balance it out. In some places, there's sort of a double shadow effect going on. In this case, I'm just working on the corner shadow first, and then I'm going to have overlapping shadows and for other objects like the desk and other things. Again, I think my main issue here is I just need to have a little bit of a shadow at where the floor and the wall meet, because in real life you'd usually have a bit of trim, or at least in yes, we'll be creating additional layers. We'll be creating additional layers for overlapping shadows, definitely. in fact, we have already sort of done, you missed it already, but, yeah, so, like, you see how the, shadow for the chair here is going over this rug? That is, the shadow is a blend layer above the rug's blend layer, because, yeah. Okay, so, that's kind of looking alright, but I think, yeah, see, like, right there, that looks kind of good. But then down here, yeah, see, that's not looking so good. So I'm gonna come back to my texture here. I'm gonna mess with this slider. I'm just gonna bring it all the way up to full. And I'm gonna hope that fixes things. And come along here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to start raising this again, because I think that will probably help if I do it like that. Shadows are very subjective. Very, very subjective things, and you kind of need to figure out what the hell you're doing. We're going to stretch this along, and I'm going to rotate this on the z-axis to give it a bit more of a bend. The goal here... See, what I may end up having to do is I may end up having to do another shadow layer on top of this to make it blend a little more smoothly. So yeah, we will see here in a minute. I'm gonna just extend this a few more times just to try and get this along a bit more. So I'm gonna boop, pull it back. But yeah, it's funny you mentioned the overlapping light sources, because sun through this window is going to cast its own set of shadows. So I'm gonna take the shadeless off of that again. Let's test the age again. But yeah, the sunlight is going to cast its own set of shadows. It already kind of does with the real-time shadows, but those look a little flaky at the moment. I'm going to have to mess with the settings on that. But I think I will also have to do fixed shadows, because at this point, I think the interior of the pod is going to have to sacrifice real-time lighting from, as far as shadows go, for most of the pod interior. It's simply because the game engine is just does not shadows are weird. It's one of those rendering things that's just like it causes us so many headaches. There's a reason that you'd only have so many real-time light sources, and they generally only come from the avatar, and otherwise shadows are kind of pre-baked in. And I may have to do something similar here. Okay, let's see how that looks. aside from the weird shadow line at the top, I am... Okay, but seriously? Do you have to do that? Do you have to... Kickables, do you have to be weird? But yeah, there's a reason I turned these lamps off, because I did not want to deal with the shadows that those are supposed to be casting. And yeah, I'm not happy with how this is meeting the wall here. I'm gonna think I'm going to hold on. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come back over here and I'm gonna get rid of this nonsense. Just for the moment. Bring that up. I'm gonna bring oop, 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 oopsie. There we go. So yeah, see, my shadow down here is just way. I think my problem is that the darkest part that I want to be showing up is just way too low at the moment. So let's raise that up a bit. And then I can come along and raise this down. I'm just gonna pull that down as well there. I think I'll leave that. And I'll just gently slope that a bit more. Yeah, I think that will help with my shadow issue here. Because now my darkest part is going to be a lot bigger on the back wall than it has been. Because I shrunk it down a bit too much, I think. So yeah, let's just... that, I think. Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's... more shadeless. Let's see how that... The problem with the sunlight shadows is that the sun actually doesn't directly hit them, and I have to use a separate lamp to get them to cast to create the illusion properly. Otherwise, I would have them doing that. And I think, with regards to the actual day-night cycle, I think the only thing I'm going to have change in the interior is just the lighting values, because... otherwise, if I don't, the shadows are just going to... the shadows are just going to not behave the way that we want. The problem is that in a lot of ways, reality is unrealistic with how you expect shadows to work. And so when you're dealing with shadows in a game, when you're trying to when you're trying to match reality, and you sometimes have to fudge it a little to get it to actually look more realistic, because the way the shadow is behaving is... let's just say there's a lot of additive and subtractive properties with shadows that if you don't get it quite right, it's going to just look weird. Okay, so yeah, that's starting to blend a bit better. But yeah, look at that. You can see where the natural shadow that's being generated by the age gets just ending. Like, it just clips away there. I think my problem really just boils down to that particular shadow is just it's just not the right texture to be using for this. I'm probably going to have to create a more, I'm going to have to probably create its own texture, I'm thinking. Looks good over here. Looks fine over here. Looks fine over here. Just, it's over here for some reason. I don't. At least my environment maps are still working, right? Yeah, I think I know what I'm going to have to do. I don't really want to do it, but I think I know what I'm going to have to do to make that look better. Yeah. So for a moment, I'm going to continue wrapping it all the way around to the other end. Seriously, Eddie? Why? Why do my kickables keep doing this? Anyways, I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to continue this trim all the way around, and then in specific places I'm going to have to duplicate it and create a new layer group over top of it. And then that will make our shadows kind of blend a bit better together, especially if I make the second layer a bit bigger. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to have to do. And especially when it comes to these bookshelves, I'm going to have to do something specific with those. Because, like, yeah, I think what I'm going to have to do with these bookshelves is I'm going to have to, I'm going to create a print screen here, and I'm going to paste that. I'm going to file, save as, bookshelf, no base image. Okay, and Podcomps revisit, open, save, okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come along in GIMP later, and I'm going to kind of trace out the shadows. We will see how that works. But yeah, for the moment, love that sound though. But yeah, we're gonna have to be exceedingly careful with how we do shadows on this back wall. Yeah, look, you can see right there where my shadow line cuts off, and I need to do something to make that blend better. The floor part looks good, it's just the wall part that doesn't. And that's where I think I need to layer things, is the top wall part. So, yeah. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude this all the way around the back wall here, and then I'm going to just take the back wall part and I'm going to duplicate that. Pull that forward, there we go. Forwards. Forwards, there we go. Let's push that back. RZ, here we Actually, while I'm at it, object, transform, origin to geometry, and now we have the origin roughly in the center of the object. Would have expected that it would have gone... Oh, but that's because... Okay, it's more of an L shape at the moment. Okay, I'll have to redo that again. Okay. This is probably going to go right behind another large shadow, this area right here, where the painting is. And that will be okay if it's not quite perfect. But I'm just going to try to make this as consistent as possible. Gotta make this as consistent as possible. Otherwise it's gonna just start looking very, very weird. Yeah. Okay. Almost there. Almost there for this stage of it. Okay. It's probably going to clip into the window bit. Wait, did I? I did. I forgot to select that bit like that. Okay. Probably gonna clip over the window. That's fine. I'm just gonna bring that over here. There we go. Object, transform, origin to geometry. Yay, now that's more centered and lively. Okay. So. Thinking on it. I'm thinking on it. I'm thinking on it while it's exporting. Trying to figure out if my plan is going to be the best one to do or not. But the only thing I can really do is just try it and see how that turns out. shadows are very, very tricky things to do, because now I'm probably going to repeat myself a dozen times on this, but it's like, I have modeled shadow textures based on things that I've literally seen right in front of me while I was modeling it, and I'm looking at it as getting the light sources compared, and people would tell me that doesn't look realistic, you know, and it's like, it's hard to judge what a shadow is going to be doing. Again. Why? I think... Yeah, I think the problem is I just have too hard of an edge on my shadows right now. Because it doesn't fade quite enough. So, let me take a look at my shadows here again. Okay, I think what I'm going to try doing, actually, is I'm just going to try changing the texture on this first. I'm going to go to PNGs, xcol, and this is xcol dash square shadows. Okay. When I look at that in my image editor, that seems like that has more of a proper blur to it. So we'll see how that looks first. And then if it doesn't look as... If it still looks a little weird, I'm going to then go in and I'm going to start layering it. Which honestly may be the only way to do it, is to layer it. Shadows are hard! Okay, on the one hand, I was right. That is a lot darker of a shadow. On the other hand, that means I then have to delete all those faces there, because that's literally clipping through the window. Ah, that doesn't look so good. Yeah, that particular texture covers the seam a lot better. Yeah. That covers the transition a whole lot better, at the expense of making itself a little more obvious. I think my problem now becomes is that I have it too tall, and I need to shrink it down a bit. Yeah, if I sit like this, that just looks like somebody painted a big old stripe of black along the floor. Not the view I want. Back out of here for a moment. Let me select the window here. Okay. Tab. Boop. There. That'll fix that. The problem is... Yeah, I think the problem is just that I have... I think I just have this top section way too high now. And it's way too tall because I heightened it in the previous version. If I bring that down a bit more. Yep. Fix it like that. Okay. Okay. Then I'm going to come here with this trick, and I'm going to try lowering it a bit and seeing how that works. We are now in the real-time lighting shading trick to see how this blends now. And you get to go. Oh, bye-bye. Port spam scans bot. Spam scan. Submit report. Block close. Good. Okay. There we go. And now we don't have to deal with the little spammer on there. Goodbye, spammer. Okay, now it's a little too light, because now we're back to the original problem of seeing where the wall meets the floor and their shadows not agreeing. Honestly, you know, it's not the floor that's the problem, it's the wall. I can just... bring that back up to almost full. Yeah, it really is just the wall that's the problem. I don't need it along the floor, do I? No, I don't. I really don't need it along the floor. Really is just the wall itself that needs that trim on it. Because again, the floor itself looks fine for what it is. And all I'm doing is just making it darker with this. If I just do the walls? Yeah. If I just do the walls, Yeah, if I just do the walls, that should be just fine. Yeah, I think if I do it like this. Come on, let me select the dang faces on that. There we go. Back against the wall, there we go. Okay. Fine. Just do this. Yeah, I think if I do it like this, it should be fine. Yeah, okay. I'm going to do those. I'm going to duplicate that set right there. Delete those faces. And now I'm going to just shrink that down like so. Then if I grab these, I'm just going to stretch. Ooh, something weird happened there. What's happening? What's happening? Don't know quite what's happening here, but it's concerning me. Oh, it's because I stretched it. Never mind. Never mind. I was seeing a line from another object and I thought that was... Never mind. My brain. My brain is not firing on all cylinders at this moment. Okay, let's grab that and that. I'm just going to stretch that up slightly. Nope. Off shade list. Okay. I think that should work. I think if I have figured it out properly, that should work. Let's do an export. And fingers crossed. Because really, all I need to do is just make the wall darker at the bottom. As long as I do that at the very bottom, it should look fine. Drum roll, drum roll, drum roll, drum roll, please. Bum. It's still exporting, so it's gonna take a moment. Okay, who's launching? Drum roll. Let's spin that wheel and see what our fortune is. Oh. Okay. First and foremost, let's just look here. Because clearly I need to do some alignment issues, but if I just squint, if I ignore the seam line, this looks good. That looks good. It's a little sharp. I probably need to shrink it down a little bit more. But that is pretty much what I'm wanting. Okay, I think I know now what I need to do. Also, look at the underside of the desk here. It's all dark! Yay! I finally have that look. Okay, I'm happy with that. Okay. I know what I need to do. For starters, I'm going to select just these faces here. I'm going to set those off to their own object. Now it doesn't matter what I do with everything else. This bit here, this is going to be desk, back, shadow, boom. Done. Okay. Now then. My current problem is that I have a gap at the bottom. A very visible gap. Boop. 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 Yeah. Boop. Boop. And now I'm just gonna, for starters, just gonna pull that down. Boom. Okay. I'm just going to shrink that first and foremost. And then I'm going to bring that down like that. Get rid of you. to get that height match going on. Oop. That. Okay. Okay. Now we'll bring this down. Bring that down. Okay. Okay. Okay, I think now I have that at a consistent height. I'm just gonna select all these top bits, and we're just gonna shrink it down a bit. Okay. Another test export. Later, buddy. Take care. Exporting. I've been streaming for 2 hours. Wait. Yeah, it's all. This is all trial and error. Like I said, this is so much trial and error that. Okay. My only problem right now is that this corner does not match up with. There's no sloping descent. Which I might be able to get away with, but. We've done it! We've done it! That shadow, it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look like a sudden line where the shadow meets the floor. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that trim for the moment. Okay. Less happy with the shadowing in here. but you know what? I think I can live with that. It looks like it's just overly shadowed. Have a slight seamage issue there. But I need to fix that. Okay, need to fix that. Okay, I think it's a little wobbly, but that's a little wobbly, but I think I can live with that. Okay. Missed a face there. Okay. I think think that'll have to do for this bit here. You know, when I need to move. Okay. Okay. Problem now is I need to pull that back. I'm gonna subdivide that. Okay. And then I'm just gonna extrude just that bit. Just that bit. What do I have there? Okay, got that much. Okay. Push that in. There we go. That's getting a little better. Now we've got the shadow up on the top wall, which will make it look like the thing is... it looks like the pipe will have a shadow. Okay. That out. And then we're going to pull it down because that takes a sharp turn. Yep. Bit too sharp of a turn there. y-axis. There we go. I have no idea how this is going to actually look once we get in game. But the lighting at least should be somewhat believable, I think. This out by the x-axis, back by the y-axis. There we go. Okay. Okay, and I think once I get this out like this, there we go. That should, I think, be good to cover. Okay. I'm just going to give this a very, very sharp end. Why? Mostly because it might look more believable being a sudden sharp end to the shadow like that. Boop. And then we're going to go Tools, Smooth Shading. There we go. Okay. Okay. Let's export that and see how that looks. Ideally, that will look pretty good. I just kind of winged it, but ideally it'll be alright, I think. Yeah. Shadows. Shadows take a lot of work and a lot of time to get right. Eddie. I am very okay with that. Don't know why I'm okay with that, but I'm okay with that. That looks actually alright. That doesn't, but that looks alright. Ish. So, what still needs shadows? This needs shadows. This needs shadows. Underside of the desk definitely needs shadows. Honestly, I probably didn't need to delete those particular shadows under there, but hey, what's done is done. Yeah, I need to do something about this next. But those shadows are agreeable over there. That shadow feels agreeable. A little wonky and jank, but agreeable. These rocks need better shadowing. Looks alright. Yeah, all this down here needs better shadowing. Okay. The things... So I'm gonna just... I'm just gonna take a screenshot and I'm gonna do what I did before. I'm gonna open up Paint, I'm gonna paste that in, I'm gonna file, save as pod 12 back wall shadow ref. I think the next thing to do is add shadows to these little boxes here. And put a shadow in back under the desk. Because it actually needs a shadow there. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to take this, tab, A, duplicate. Y90, RZ180, that. Come on, let me select the line rather. There we go. Okay. Let's get this a little more lined up. So I'm going to pull this back to about there. No, gotta come back a little bit further. Yeah, let's shrink that in by the y-axis because it doesn't need to be that long under there. Yeah. That should do the trick, I think. And then I'm just gonna duplicate. Nope, nope, nope. Zoop. What? Up. Well, Blender just crashed on me. Let me see if I can reload from the save there. Well, I've been running it for so long, I'm not surprised the texture, it crashed on me. I just need to file, cover last, cover autosave. Let's see here. 1312, okay. I'm gonna hit save. Okay. Actually, I'm just gonna now I'm gonna duplicate that object. Geometry, there we go. Now, this is gonna be our battery shuttle. scale it by the y-axis just a little bit more. Okay. Come on. There we go. And then, because this is going to be, it's over top something, we're going to bump this up to index past 1. Okay. Okay. Now the question's gonna be, what about the battery blocks? I think I'll worry about that later. And I'm gonna duplicate it again. And this is gonna be our battery fridge shadow. That's horribly misspelled, but whatever. Come on. I need to see what I'm doing here. Okay. And then I'm gonna be cheeky about it and extrude. And this is fun. Come on, grab the blue arrow this time. Boop. Okay. That's a little cheeky, but I am okay with that. That's kind of funny, actually. Kind of funny looking. I'm realizing I'm probably going to need to do the same thing to the battery box! Whee! More work! More work! But that's fine. That is fine. Save, because I'm paranoid now. Okay, now if I just what's going on there? That's being weird. Okay, I see what's going on there. If I fill that in, then I fill that in, then take the knife here, grab it there. Come on. empty. There we go. Now I can grab this. Go. Turn off shadeless. We'll test the age. And it begins work nearing up on 3 hours. I think I will probably call it quits soon for the day. Oh. Almost done for the day. I'm getting exhausted. I'm gonna. That's. Did I not? I did not. Okay. That would explain it. Okay. That. Yeah, there we go. That's gonna be a better. I'm pulling this all forwards and up in the back here because the fridge is at a slight angle. Because the fridge is at a slight angle, the catawit cast is going to be slightly wider. Than it would otherwise be. Pull that. now I'm realizing I need to fix a screw up here. Yep, look at that. Yep, screw up there. We need this to be a little bit more this way. Yeah. Actually, no, hold on. Yeah. Yeah, let's pull it that way a bit. Yeah, that'll do. Problem, yeah, see, the problem I was having here is that this needs shadeless. Okay. Come on. Boom. Okay. Now we run into the same issue. I need to have the striping on the edges. this, that. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. And then I'm just gonna stretch this back. Boom. Face. 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 Okay. Now that we've fixed the height issue and the alignment issue, we'll export one last time, and then I am definitely calling it after this, because I am not even talking while I'm working. Ugh. Which means I am very, very tired. Ugh. Almost ready. I need to lower that one. I need to lower that a bit more. But otherwise... Oh yeah, the desk is going to start needing shadows too. Look at that. We got the battery box casting a shadow. We got the fridge casting a shadow, which actually looks pretty good from the telescope view. Okay. Bounce. Bounce. Okay, yeah, yeah, so that's, yeah, I think that's pretty good for the shadowing right now. Pretty happy with it overall. But I'm just realizing now the laptop, or the computer thing is gonna need shadows on it too. It's already shadowed on the one side, but I mean it's gonna need... It's gonna need some shadowing on the bits of it that are directly in the shadow. I may need to adjust the lines on the shadows too. We'll see. Yeah, I think... I think this is where I'm gonna call it for the day. Yeah. Thank you for watching all of this, and I will, see you all next time. Bye. I'm gonna need to have to update these cards again.